roll.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Here.
Councilman Questa.
Here.
Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Grover.
Here.
Councilman Keenan.
Here.
Councilman Sedan.
Here.
Councilman Ballmer.
Here.
Councilman Mazza.
Here.
President Gonzalez.
Here. This is a regular conference of the City Council as incorporated in the annual meetings notice of 2012, which was filed in the City Clerk's office and posted on the bulletin board on December 27, 2011, and sent to the Star Ledger and Home News Tribune in compliance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law of New Jersey. I will now open the public speaking portion of the meeting. Any taxpayer resident wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and address for the record.
My name is Miss Wallace. I reside at 200 Parker Road, Elizabeth, New Jersey, apartment 2K.
Good evening, Ms. Wallace.
Hi. I apologize for coming to the council meeting tonight, but since I'm unable to obtain any kind of communication with Miss Chris Foglio, and I'm sure she either watches the program or she gets information from recipients here, I come to put in another complaint. My complaint to Chris Foglio and to the CIS. I received a message from maintenance yesterday concerning no keys to the apartment. They have no entry into the tenants' apartments, which is untrue.
Who doesn't have the key? I'm sorry? The maintenance don't have keys to get into
Maintenance
the
states they
apartments?
do not have keys to some apartments,
So-
which is untrue. Maintenance do have keys to the apartments. They have a large white bucket with all the keys listed in there. Within 1 year, this is 2012, I'm talking about 2010 going into 2011, there was a turnover of foreman, supervisor, maintenance workers. So whether the keys were mistagged or whatever, it became an inconvenience to them. I've only been in my apartment on 200 Parker Road for 1.5 years. When I moved into the apartment, I had the silver door, which had no top lock, but a bottom lock. I did not feel secure. So I persisted, and I was able to get a top lock. And within getting the top lock, I was given a new bottom lock. So there's a new set of keys to the top and to the bottom lock.
Right.
They have no idea where those keys are. They have stated that because they cannot enter into the apartments, that they will drill out the lock and come in and do whatever necessary maintenance that has to be done. I don't have a problem with that, but my problem is the fact that they do have keys. They do have keys, and they're stating that they do not have keys. And they're also stating that because they have no keys and there's no entry into the apartment, that we, the tenant, are violating our lease. And I find that truly untrue. I really do. They're stating that they have obtained a key machine and they want the tenants to come and give another set of keys to the apartment. That I do not have a problem as well. But my problem again is this. I've talked to maintenance. As I'm not working, I have the time to be a little observant about my surroundings. And when I was in the office, I noticed the box where the keys were located was open. I could have gotten in there, picked the key, whether it had a tag or not. I could have been malicious, you know, just kept it, nobody had it. But the keys are there.
Yeah.
It's for anyone. And my concern is the safety, not only for myself, because the tenants, like I said, there's been a turnover. And the tenants have complained. I, for one, complained not only to CIS, but to management, because I, too, was a victim of someone coming in my apartment, not breaking into the apartment, but using a set of keys to come in. So and the fact that I'm also concerned is the fact that I've talked to maintenance about the basement locks. They're easy access. I've told them how they can get into the basement. I've seen it myself. I've talked to them.
Yeah, right. They have a responsibility to maintain.
They do have a
keep that secure,
responsibility,
so-
exactly, and they need to understand that the tenants just feel a little, they want security, you know, and they're a little insecure because, as I stated, there was a 1.5 years of so many turnovers. I've also asked management and CIS that when a new personnel is hired, just to send a letter out stating that we hired Manny Grover as a technician or yourself as whatever. That's all. That's all. So when the person wears their blue shirt and it has their name, we know who they are. But like I've stated previously, there is no open communication. As I stated last Tuesday, CIS asked for a number of concerned tenants. They have our names, they have our phone numbers, they have our addresses. They've not reached out to us. I've reached out to them, but I've gotten no response.
So they're not holding meetings at all still with you since, what, September, I think it was? Yeah, that's very disappointing to say the least.
I'm trying not to go over the line. I'm trying to maintain thinking positively. But like I said, when you don't have an open communication, to me, it's a red flag on the play. And I know you guys know football.
Yellow flag.
No, red is red, danger.
This is red, okay.
No warning, danger.
Just so that you know, Ms. Wallace and Mr. President, after last week's meeting, I sat with Phyllis.
Right. The point person for the administration.
Right. And I gave her all the things that people spoke about. She said she was going to send out letters and memos with everything too.
You're aware of that, right, Ms. Wallace? The administration has appointed somebody
No.
that's going to handle specifically Oakwood Plaza and their complaints and report back to us
No.
on all those complaints. So this complaint that you're making tonight is going to go to that person who will make sure that it's followed up with.
Yeah. I'm not against them having the keys, but I am against the fact that, like I stated, the key box is open. They do not have a secretary, which they did on the premises. So anybody can go in there and obtain those keys as before. And as I stated before, I've only been in the apartment not that long. So where are my set of keys? They're brand new. So that makes me think and that makes me wonder.
Mr. President, just one thing. I know CIS was supposed to come last Tuesday and they didn't come. Did they reschedule just to make this flawless?
Have not heard back. I did write again. Once again, a letter was sent asking if they could come for the 11th or the 26th meeting. So I have requested once again to see if they'll come.
The copy of the letters in the file.
Right.
Thank you.
Is there any way that I can obtain a copy of that letter? I mean, is it private, secret, or whatever? I think you don't want to take your own copy. Are you
It's all right, you can get
sure?
another one.
I know what it says. I speed read.
Okay, I do appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Any other taxpayer resident wishing to address to the council, you may do so at this time. Seeing none, I close the public speaking portion of the meeting. We will move on to new business.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from His Honored Mayor, subject to your confirmation, advice, and consent, hereby appoints Edward Sisk to serve as acting director of the fire department on an as-needed basis for the period November 28, 2012 to February 28, 2013, at the rate of $50 an hour.
Any comments?
Mr. President, I just got a question.
Yes.
Any information on the director?
I spoke to him myself last week, and he's coming along. He told me. He said he's coming along. That's all I know. Yeah.
Can we get an answer as to what does that mean by as-need basis? Is it like when we call them? I mean,
My understanding is he's not going to occupy the office from 9 to 5. He may come in a couple times a week just to sign orders or do what's necessary for the efficient operation of the office.
he's still going to be on. He's going to be there.
I think if you call him, he will probably
That's
get
my
back.
point. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to figure out what that means. As long as he's available when we need him.
He will, and he is available for council. Mr. Son?
That's my understanding, Mr. President, absolutely.
I would hope so.
Okay, any other comments? Go ahead.
Letter dated November 27, 2012, from the business administrator, recommending awarding a contract to Mazer Consultants, E.A., Red Bank, New Jersey, to provide professional engineering services inclusive of civil engineering, construction administration, and educational services for the winterization and reopening of the Mickey Walker Spray Park facility in the amount of $12,650.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 28, 2012, from the business administrator recommending awarding a contract to Bayer Ford, Morristown, New Jersey, for the purchase of 5 2013 Ford Explorers for the police department under their state contract at a total cost of $152,665.
Any comments?
Are these replacing any existing, or are these brand new?
These are replacements.
They are replacements?
Boy, you guys are getting good. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. I'd like to hear that.
Any other comments?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Put it on.
Letter dated November 29, 2012, from the business administrator requesting authorization for the proper city officials to renew the insurance policy with Fidelity and Deposit Company in Maryland, a member of Zurich Financial Services Group, Schaumburg, Illinois, covering the Fidelity blanket bond for public employee dishonesty for the period January 1, 2013 to January 1, 2014, at an annual premium of $4,049.99.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 29, 2012, from the business administrator recommending awarding a contract to National Terminal, Inc., Newark, New Jersey, for the purchase of diesel fuel for the Public Works Marina for the period November 1, 2012 through October 31st, 2013, at a cost not to exceed $150,000.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 29, 2012, from the business administrator recommending awarding a contract to Language Line Services, Inc., Dallas, Texas, for telephone interpreter services for the police department and the municipal court division for the period November 1, 2012 through October 31st, 2013, at a cost not to exceed $50,000.
Any comments?
I have a
Councilman
question,
Brewer?
Mr. President. We currently have in our court system Spanish-speaking interpreters and Portuguese-speaking interpreters. How is this going to affect them?
I don't know the answer to that, Councilman, but I will find out.
Is this an emergency on this thing? or-
I don't know.
Put this one on hold until you get the answer, Mr. President.
Can we hold this?
You wanna hold this?
$50,000, a lot of money.
You wanna put it on and then we get the
Right.
information?
I think that's what you're talking about, right?
No, we do have
No,
interpreter
because
working
I'm
already.
trying to find out, we have interpreters that work the course. So are we going to get rid
I'm
of
not
them?
getting into the languages, I don't know, I don't see the hints.
All right.
I mean, if it's not an emergency, it's not.
Okay, fine.
We'll be 1 month into the contract period.
Yeah, why did we do this?
It's a contract started November 1st. I don't know if that makes any difference.
You believe it?
That's even better. Stop them, so they have to get the okay before they even put somebody on.
How did they do that?
So you wanna hold this, Councilman?
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. You got people livelihoods that work.
Right. 50,000, you
Okay,
provide
yeah.
another person
We'll get the
full-time.
answer.
We're going to change, gonna get rid of people from machines.
Mr. Travisano, you'll get us the answer?
I will.
Unless this is something else. Seems
Letter
like-
dated November 30, 2012, from the business administrator recommending awarding a contract to Northeast Auto and Truck Parts LLC, Division of Capital Supply, Inc., Bayonne, New Jersey, for the purchase of automotive parts and accessories to include but not limited to brakes, filters, and spark plugs for the Department of Public Works for the period November 25, 2012 through December 25, 2012, at a cost not to exceed $50,000.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from the business administrator recommending awarding a contract to Global Terra BFI, Marlton, New Jersey, for the purchase of tables for the police department in the amount of $8,925.84.
Any comments?
Yeah, what kind of tables are this?
That's what I was.
Dining tables, desk, or,
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
That's mine. This is for the recently constructed portion of the the entrance, the police headquarters entrance, so, I think their desks, and they're not just tables, they're
Okay.
maybe, you know, a little more substantial than just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put 'em on.
Any other comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from the business administrator requesting that city council reject all bids received November 27, 2012, for the furnishing of miscellaneous hardware supplies for various departments, and to authorize the purchasing agent to rebid for same.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the business administrator recommending awarding a contract to Edmonds and Associates, Northfield, New Jersey, for software and hardware support, annual software maintenance for finance, purchasing, and revenue department for a period of 1 year in the amount of $33,285.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the business administrator requesting authorization for the proper city officials to enter into and execute a shared services intergovernmental agreement with the County of Union for access to and use State of New Jersey's and County of Union's interoperable communication system for a minimum of 5 years at minimal cost.
Any comments?
Mr. President, can you go back to the previous one? We have a 33,285 for a period of 1 year. What kind of software and hardware you actually needed to upgrade for 1 year? And then next year come back again?
I don't know that this is an upgrade, Councilman. What it is, it's for finance, as well as
Annual software
revenue and
maintenance.
purchasing as well. They're required to maintain a certain software and helps them, you know, with the taxes and.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry for the interruption.
And now we're back at the one I just finished.
Yeah. Were there any comments on the last one? Our abandoned mandate? All right, put it on.
Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the business administrator requesting authorization for the proper city officials to apply for a waiver from the Federal Communications Commission of its narrow banding mandate.
Any comments?
What happens if we don't get the waiver? What's gonna happen? Because in the previous letter, it says that we must meet the requirement by the Federal Communication. There are 2 letters pertaining to December 4th.
And the answer is if we don't meet if we don't meet the mandate by January 1st or get a waiver, we're subject to civil penalties. So we're trying to meet that obligation by January 1st, but in the event we don't, we want to make sure that we have the waiver in place.
Did they grant us the waiver last year? Or no, this is the first time that it's
This is the
happened?
first time that they're requiring this.
Let's try it.
Okay, no.
Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the business administrator requesting authorization for the proper city officials to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Elizabeth Parking Authority to allow for the sharing of portable data terminal for a period of 5 years commencing on the state of execution at no direct cost to the city.
Any comments?
Can somebody elaborate a little bit more? Because I read this letter twice, I still don't understand, so I'd like to be clear what we're doing.
Sure. There's a law that allows parking authorities, specifically in this case, our parking authority, Elizabeth's Parking Authority, their parking enforcement officers walk around with these data terminals, and it makes their job very efficient when issuing a parking ticket. It goes immediately into the state's computer system. The police officers and other PEOs that work for the city, not the parking authority, don't have that capability. So whenever they issue a parking summons, they've got to do it manually. It goes to the court, possibly backlog, etc. So what the proposal is here is to allow the parking authority to share additional terminals with the city so that it promote efficiency. It'll raise revenue. It's a good thing.
Very good.
So, Mr. President?
Yeah,
So
Councilman
should we
Wu.
buy more?
As far as the numbers go, Councilman, I'm not sure. I think we have the ability to get as many as we possibly can. I don't think there's a cost to us. It's simply just whatever we can use, we can get access to.
Okay.
Good.
Councilman King.
I've had somebody get a ticket on Broad Street, immediately went to the courthouse to pay it, and they couldn't pay it because it wasn't in the system. So will these PDTs make it likely that the ticket information will be there so that they can pay it? Especially if someone's out of town. You know, they're right there, they want to pay,
Don't pay
can't
them,
pay.
right, makes sense.
I can't speak to the exact time frame, Councilman Keenan, but I do believe that it's almost an
Instantaneous?
instantaneous upload. if you
Okay,
will.
thank you.
Any other comments?
State of the art. It's good.
Any questions? All right,
Very
put it
good.
on.
Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the Business Administrator requesting authorization for the proper city officials to accept and use municipal forfeiture funds to purchase 9 2013 Dodge Avengers for the Detective Bureau of the Elizabeth Police Department in the amount of $165,000.
Are these replacement vehicles?
Give it to them so they could do more arrests.
These are,
Rid of the
the
smoke
beauty
area.
about this, if you guys look at the backup,
Yeah.
is that they're like hybrids, so
Yeah.
we'll be saving
Saving
also on
gas.
fuel.
Yeah.
I was looking to buy one of these.
And no air conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
We have air conditioning inside?
They're pretty cool.
No air conditioning.
Keep bringing this way down, as long as they're replacing wheel okay.
Well, yeah, but they're getting wholesale or whatever.
Any other comments?
Oh, my
Put
God.
it on.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from the city attorney requesting authorization to execute a contract with the law firm of Goldenberg, Mackler, Sayed, Mintz, Pfeffer, Bonci, and Gill for legal representation on in-rem tax foreclosures for the period November 27, 2012 through November 26, 2013, at a rate of $500 per tax sale certificate, plus costs with a cap of $50,000. In the event that the foreclosures become contested and are given a separate docket number, such legal representation will be billed at $150 per hour plus costs.
Any comments?
I do.
Councilman.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. We've hired firms in the past to do in-rem tax foreclosure. And what that means is that the city forecloses on a property, takes ownership to the property for failure to pay taxes. That's what that means. When we've got a bunch of properties that we already own, when are we gonna put these out on auction?
For auction. I don't know the answer to that. but I
Could you
can
find out
certainly
for me?
look
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes, Councilman King.
But the city does hold a tax sale where individuals can purchase certificates as well, correct?
Correct, but this is not what this is.
I know, but why would the city itself be purchasing tax sale certificates and not allowing the public to purchase those?
I think if it's such a high thing where we can benefit from the sale of the property at a sheriff's sale.
So we have the option of not letting it be sold to a
Correct.
member of the public
Correct.
if it's to our benefit. Okay,
Correct.
Thank you.
As long as we hold it for 2 years, we can then foreclose.
Got it, thank you.
But I know we've done it in the past, and the question is, what happened to all these properties?
Exactly.
Yeah. They're just sitting vacant and.
Well,
Nice work.
I know that even though we've done it in the past, the process is an arduous one.
Oh, it's-
It sometimes takes, years, yeah. So we may not have this, I don't want there to be this perception that we have this roster of vacant properties.
No, there's some. I didn't say there's a lot, there's some. But we could get rid of them.
Any other comments? Put it on.
Okay. Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the First Assistant City Attorney, advising that the Law Department has represented the City of Elizabeth Fire Department with regard to the litigation matter of the United States of America versus State of New Jersey et al., entering into a consent decree. The City of Elizabeth, as well as the state and other municipal defendants, have substantially complied with provisions of the consent decree, and as a result thereof, the Justice Department has drafted a proposed stipulation terminating the consent decree and a proposed order terminating the consent decree. And as the attorney for the City of Elizabeth, the First Assistant City Attorney will be signing off on both documents on behalf of the city, and this is for information only.
Any comments? Councilman
In
Matt?
simple language, that means what? That the agreement is being terminated, that we don't have to pay by one-fourth?
What I would think is there's one line here in the second paragraph that says the goal set for the city of Elizabeth for hiring and promotions was 1/3.
Okay, keep
Does
reading
that mean
the,
that we accomplished that goal?
no, keep reading the next few lines, all the way in the back also. And it says the city of Elizabeth, as well, the
They
state.
comply with the, right, comply with the provisions of the consent decree. Stipulation terminated.
So we've already
terminating
complied
yeah.
with it.
Basically, they're saying that we're,
Terminated the consent decree.
right, I mean, they're saying that we've achieved our goals, basically.
Since 1977,
Is that
we've
correct?
achieved our goal.
Substantially, right?
There can be for African-American officers, because it's only like, what, 17?
And it says minorities, it doesn't say specific minorities.
Well, I said it can't be for African-American officers, because they're only about 17.
Mm.
That's all I'm
Well, I
saying.
mean, if you put all African American, Hispanic, Asian, whatever else, you know, does it equal to a third? I don't know.
So that means they allowed to reduce the standard of the exam to a lower level in order to achieve a minority to be successful.
No.
Oh, it doesn't say that,
It
Councilman.
doesn't.
That's what it says.
One second.
It doesn't say that at all.
Oh, I tried to-
Well, this is just for information
This is
only.
for information.
Yeah.
It says that state of New Jersey was required to revise in testing procedure. So if I'm revising my test procedure I'm revising my test to make it more simple, more accessible.
No,
No,
it's
not
not. Make it
necessarily.
fair.
Well,
Make-
that,
Fair doesn't
I don't know
mean-
what fair means.
Well, I know fair means fair.
I'm not fair, but revise, I have to revise something that I prepared. If it's an essay, now I have to do multiple choice, a
Well,
multiple
it's only
choice.
for information if you have like, if you want further explanations and speak to one first assistant attorney.
No, that's why I asked for an explanation, what does it
Yeah, we
mean?
don't know, it. Yeah, it's just for information only. They were kind enough to let us know what was going on regarding this issue.
Yeah,
So I'm
we
just
take
gonna
no
give them a
action.
call. You just give them a call.
To Ray Balanowski,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the Chief Financial Officer, is hereby requesting that your honorable body consider amending ordinance number 3505 and ordinance number 3698, Article 9, entitled Outside Employment of Off-Duty Police Officers, specifically to increase the administrative rate to $5 per hour.
Any comments? This is something that we discussed during our budget review and was a recommendation that I pursued with the administration, and they are, following up with it and increasing that rate from $4 to $5 an hour that the city collects on the jobs.
Good job, Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman?
And furthermore, says that payment must be done through the payable, let's say, to the policeman, to the fireman, any other agency from the city should be done with the City of Elizabeth payroll system.
Right.
In other words,
The city collects the money and then pays the officers.
let's say if I'm working,
These are, don't get, these are off-duty jobs.
right, if I'm working on bar X, years ago, a lot of the wherever worked, they probably got paid the cash or whatever. Now they're required to pay by payroll, checks
Oh,
and
yeah, it's
everything
been
else.
that way for some time now.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's been away for some time, but with an additional cost of $5 to $4 more for the service rendering to our employee for the payroll department, we actually are $4 to $5 more on the rate to compensate the work that the city is doing to make a payment to our city employees. Is that
The
correct?
administrative.
Right, the
Right.
administrative fee, exactly.
And
We're
then
charging more to do
they
it.
will be part also a W-2 form that the city disperse each
Right.
employee, so they also have to pay federal taxes
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
and state
Yeah,
and whatever.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Any
Whatever
other
you guys
comments?
will say.
Put it on.
Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the Chief Financial Officer advising that additional grants may be appropriated in the 2013 state fiscal year budget by budget amendments, Chapter 159.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated December 11, I think that was an error. From Chief Financial Officer that City Council consider requesting the Director of the Division of Local Finance to make corrections in the 2013 municipal budget to account for the city's share of grants approved subsequent to the adopted budget, matching fund share from $850,000 to $817,414. The local share port security grant from $0 to $32,586.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from the Director of Health and Human Services recommending awarding a contract to Visiting Nurse and Health Services Elizabeth for the performance of senior health promotion risk reduction services for the period July 1, 2012 through June 30, 2013, at a rate of $80 per hour, not to exceed $11,520, unless further authorized by your honorable body.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from the Director of Health and Human Services recommending awarding a contract to Visiting Nurse and Health Services Elizabeth for the performance of health educator services for the period July 1, 2012 through June 30, 2013, at a rate of $70 per hour, not to exceed $10,395 unless further authorized.
Any comments?
Very
Put
good.
it on.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from the Director of Health and Human Services recommending awarding a contract to Pedro Beckford, M.D., Elizabeth, for pediatric physician services for the period September 1, 2012 through December 31, 2013, at a rate of $100 per hour, not to exceed $80,000 unless further authorized.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated November 30, 2012, from the Director of Health and Human Services recommending awarding a contract to Maria Chirino, M.D., Union, New Jersey, for sexually transmitted disease services for the period September 1, 2012 through December 31, 2013, at a rate of $100 per hour, not to exceed $50,000 unless further authorized.
Any comments? Put it on.
Letter dated December 4, 2012, from the Director of Planning and Community Development requesting that your honorable body consider the revised Durant Street redevelopment plan.
Any comments? I thought they were going to review this on the 6th of
Yeah.
December.
That's correct.
They are.
The, Mr. President, in order to put this on the agenda for the 11th, then we're requesting today that it be placed on the agenda for the 11th. So in the event that the planning board either does not make a recommendation or does not act favorably on the 6th, we would ask that this be placed on the agenda for the 11th with that, under
we
that
just table it.
stipulation, yeah.
But we had this discussion at the last
Yes.
meeting that we said
Again,
we didn't want to do that, and now we're changing it? I mean,
No, because at the last meeting, we would have voted on it.
Right,
This is what we agreed at the last.
We would have had voted on it.
Right.
This way, we're not voting on it unless you already got the approval.
because they meet on the 6th.
Right.
That's right.
But they'll approve it till the 6th,
Yeah, which is 2 days.
which is 2 days from now.
Right.
And we would vote
Next week.
on the
Next week.
11th.
Next
But
week.
we're okay with
Right,
that.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
The other thing I wanted to emphasize is the December 11th meeting is just the first reading, so formal action isn't going to be taken until the 26th, excuse me.
26th, right?
So theoretically, you've got the planning board meeting on the 6th and then
Understood.
formal action on the 26th.
Mr. President?
Councilman Keenan.
The council had indicated at that meeting that the statute provides for council approving it either in advance or after the planning board has met, correct?
Well, there are two ways that the plan can be adopted. It can either be adopted first by the city council and then sent to the planning board for their approval, or it can be started in the planning board and then be sent to the city council for approval.
As a matter of practice from now on, it would seem to me that since they're kind of like the body looking at the nitty-gritty of the plan, that we have them look at it before it comes to council for approval. If the statute allows that, I mean, I just feel more comfortable doing it that way
And that's
rather
what I
than
was
the other
under
way
the
around.
impression in the last meeting, that we wanted to wait till they approved it.
Which is what we're doing now.
That's what we're doing now.
Originally, just to refresh, originally, the way it was set up, we were gonna vote on it before December 6th. Now, the way it's set up now, we would vote on it after December 6th.
After the planning board.
I mean, I think this is important, we need to move it along, but I just want to make sure we're all clear with what we're doing.
I agree with Councilman Keenan on that.
But in the future, if they would look at it first.
You want the planning board to look at it first and then send it to city council?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. President, I just wanted to just echo Mr. Keenan's sentiments too with that. I also wanted to add though that definitely this Thursday, there's going to be a lot of discussion. I know, just to make my colleagues aware, Stop and Shop is very concerned with seeing the plans of what they're proposing. So without question, like I expect them coming out.
So it may or may not get approved.
Yeah, like, you know, there's like some holes in comparison to what was originally what we were planning to do compared to what's being presented now. It's somewhat like night and day, like, you know, like the potential that it would have with the transit village and all of that. That's almost thrown out the window, and the new developers are looking more just to do two-box, pretty much retail stores. So you know, there's definitely a lot of discussion that's going to take place. But I just want to let all my colleagues know, you know, that that's pretty much what's going to occur.
What they're concerned about, the retail stores being,
Well, I think another major thing is that they're not, from what I'm hearing, they're not open to what Stop and Shop want, because originally they were all working together. Stop and Shop and the development, it was like this big, massive thing under one developer. But now it seems like they're trying to do whatever they want. But the big concern too is just the fact, and even from my standpoint too, is maximizing the potential that that land has, just with seeing the plans that were previously, you know, the goal that we were going to have compared to what they're presenting now, it's night and day. So I just want to make you aware that it looks like there's going to be a lot of discussion coming this Thursday, just so that when we come in towards it on Tuesday, you know, there's probably a good possibility, you know, depending on what the planning board does or other concerns or doesn't do. So that's pretty much
2 days, we'll find out.
today. So thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, put it up.
Letter dated November 28, 2012, from the Director of Public Works requesting permission to have a lien placed against properties listed on Schedule A attached hereto and made a part thereof for the removal and disposal of debris from said properties in the amount of $11,010.62.
Any comments?
I just have one question.
Councilman?
Now that Mr. Travisano's here, he can find out this for us. We've been doing these liens for how many years, Yolanda? About 2? 2 years? Could we find out how much we've collected on?
Total amount?
How much have we collected and how much was liened so far? Both. How much have we liened and how much have we collected? Just out of curiosity.
Any other comments? Put it on.
Letter dated December 3rd, 2012, from the Director of Public Works recommending awarding a contract to the Birdsall Service Group, Cranford, New Jersey, to provide civil engineering and environmental engineering on-call services at a cost not to exceed $55,000 plus reimbursable.
Any comments? Put it up.
Okay. We have a memo dated November 26, 2012 from Lieutenant Dugan regarding a 4-ton weight limit traveling on First Street between Elizabeth Avenue and Trumbull Street.
Just kind of, for those who weren't here in 1999, 1999, one of the biggest complaints that I had at the time, Front Street was a truck route. In 1998, we built those fields down on Front Street. Hope 6 was being built down on Front Street. And there was a concern about the trucks coming up Front Street. So we had passed an ordinance at that point, this body, eliminating trucks completely down the port. They couldn't cross from Elizabeth Avenue to Trumbull, it wasn't allowed. That got sent down to DOT, got sent down to the Federal, I guess, Department of Transportation. And they told us we couldn't do that because we were interfering with the interstate commerce. Okay. Since then, we now have a school down on Front Street and First Street. We have a recreation center, we have more housing, we have senior buildings, we have daycare now being held over at the Presbyterian Center. And I've also had a lot of requests from the citizens about eliminating it again, trying to eliminate it. Because right now, we changed it from Front Street, kept it all on First because it's a straight route from, there's no turns, so I've met with Lieutenant Dugan, I've spoken to Director Cosgrove, and they agree that it's an opportunity to try again. So 13 years later, we're going to try again. Law Department, I guess, is going to work on amending the ordinance to make it so that First Street will also be a 4-ton weight limit. And we'll throw it up the flagpole and see where the feds stand on it this time. We'll see what we can do. Congressman seriously would support me, so.
Any other comments? Okay, put it on.
Nope, not yet. Can't believe it's been 3 years already. So, I'm asking City Council to consider the reappointment of my title to serve as City Clerk for a 3-year term effective January 1, 2013, and it will be a 10-year appointment.
And any comments? All right.
Yeah, I have a comment. She's
Councilman
wonderful.
Keenan?
You are a wonderful city clerk,
Thank you.
and I'm so happy to be supporting her. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all let go to the safe side.
Absolutely.
We're not asked for any better. We're very fortunate.
Very good.
There you go.
Yolanda, you're the best.
Thank you.
Put it on with extra stars by it. Fly, you having fun?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, P. L. 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss a matter falling within the attorney-client privilege, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting.
Need a motion to go into closed session? Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Rhoda.
Aye.
Councilman Keenan.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Ballman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. Ms. Wallace, Ms. Wallace, that the marching band is going to be coming to our meeting? Is that correct?
Which meeting? This is for, which meeting?
It will be at the pre-council meeting, I think, what day you picked, Yolanda?
It was the 18th.
18?
I gotta let him know.
Is there any way they can come just to the regular meeting? I mean, because we're going to invite all the students,
I
right?
know, all the whatever, but.
And we meet in here. I mean,
I know, but we could probably go for that particular time into the chamber, because the director has a job that usually works on a Tuesday, and
But we-
Monday, Tuesday,
yeah.
so it's up to you.
You know, can we put it off till January? Maybe they can come to a meeting?
I asked him, he works in Pennsylvania, so he's the director, he's the guy gonna do all the paperwork for him to come, at least he's willing to come,
Yeah.
you know, maybe when.
What's the
above-
difference between one Tuesday and the other? He doesn't work on those every Tuesday?
No, he only works like, he checked on his calendar, I saw myself in the classroom, and those dates he's got job in
That's why I was wondering if
Pennsylvania.
January might be better.
I'll ask him again, I will see him tomorrow.
Well, I
no
think
problem.
it's just not, to me, I think it's not fair to other groups that have come here, and I can say Oakwood Plaza residents that we filled the hallway and we still met here, and we didn't make an allowance for them to and moved over there, to now request that we do it, you know.
Well,
Just
now we are,
additional
we are
fairness.
in advance. Well, they came in, Oakwood Plaza came in over here, the 7-9 wanted to move. I mean,
Yeah.
you're the chair and then the majority votes. But this arrangement has been made in advance. Unless you don't want the Ben to come, then we just don't forget
Oh,
about
no,
it.
we want them to come, absolutely.
Man,
And I was just, you know,
The
hoping
guy,
we could
all
move
the
over there.
pre-council, all the regular meeting, he cannot make. He's got job responsibility. And if the director can make, he's the one gonna do the work. I'll ask him again. I'll go back into
Yeah.
January, February, I don't care.
Ask them to find out, just, we definitely want them to know. I want them to
Just, you know.
Matter of fact, they even asked him to do a concert in front of the city
Yeah, we'll do
hall.
a concert, right?
Help me
They
that.
want the band at the house.
Yeah, they play some performance.
Yeah,
Give him
that would be
credit.
good too, absolutely,
He's willing to do that too, Mr. President. So,
All right.
absolutely, okay.
I'll ask him again, I go back
Yeah.
tomorrow, no problem.
Just, you know.
Yeah, no problem.
But don't think we don't want them to come. We've got no more
I'm
money.
saying,
I mean, again, as you know, I tried getting them here last year and it didn't work out, so I'm happy that they.
well, he tried too, but
Yeah,
apparently,
Okay.
you know.
didn't work out, but, okay. All right. Councilwoman?
Yes, there was a shooting, at Cocobongo. I think it was Thursday night, you know, and, I think someone died.
Yes.
And it might be someone who's still in the hospital.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Is there any way we can, get a police report and see what is going on? There have been other shootings, that normally we don't request a police report, but I think we need to start requesting them, to see when they're going to be served and what the process is. I hope you don't mind.
No.
Councilman, I'm taking the lead on this.
And I believe that's the second
Yeah.
fatality there, and
14
like
months.
maybe the
14
last
months,
year or
3
so.
months,
Yeah, and we never knew what happened with the other fatality. Did they come before the ABC board? I mean, or did I miss that meeting? I mean, how can you have,
Can we,
this is the second shooting and we had nothing before the ABC board and that's really disturbing to me. Because I was just waiting for it to come up. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
so, and secondly, can we check and make sure all their licensing is in order? Their dance licensing, and I don't know if that's a dance hall, they have a dance hall licensing, but can you check with central licensing to make sure everything is in order?
Yeah, I know.
yeah, Mr.
We need to do something.
Yes.
because
Mr. Travisano, maybe what we can do is ask the ABC secretary, detective, they should be aware of that and be involved in that.
I
And
just wanna
maybe
know what
share,
happened to the first shooting. that
share
they never-
information with all council on that.
And also,
Councilman King?
With these
Just
two
don't mention
murders
that.
now, I think it's incumbent upon us to have them come before ABC and have the detective there and have the police make a presentation and also find out what we can do to correct the situation. I think that's just too serious.
But, no, Councilman.
I'm sorry, yes, it's your ward, obviously.
no, I
said
I echo definitely everyone's opinion on this, and like what I wanted to know too is more details, even with the second shooting, because it appears like definitely the first one, it seemed like it stemmed out of the Cocobongo. Now this one that just happened, it appears like it was like a robbery attempt, and it somewhat looks like it might have been outside of the club, but at the same time we don't know the details, but how you said just to get the report and get like the details of that, I think it's so important.
Allegedly, someone said it was a Girls Gone Wild event. I don't know, maybe y'all know what that's about. And that's what happened, so I don't know, but if, people call you with stuff, and I wanna rely on
The facts,
get the
yeah.
facts from the police department, so.
Sure, Councilwoman.
And that's why I wanted to make sure central licensing, I don't know if he's renting the place out, or, what's going on, if he's leasing it to someone else, and they're having these private parties, which we all know that is, not allowed. We'd be very strict on no subletting your place, no renting it out to private parties. So I don't know if this happened, but we need to really find some answers, because we can't keep letting the same establishment have fatalities, and they don't answer to anyone, and no responsibility. So, thank you, Mr. Executive Assistant. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Anything else, Councilman?
No, that's all.
Okay, Councilman Gomes?
Pass.
Councilman
I
Keenan?
was, Yolanda, I was wondering if we could write a letter to the Elizabeth Postmaster. They removed a mailbox from the foyer of 350 Wyoming, 350 Elmore Avenue. I know, good luck. They've not been responsive in the past, but I think we should at least make an effort. And the thing is that even if that mailbox, and there are a lot of senior citizens who live in the building,
Okay.
so they rely on that. Some of them have walkers and they can't walk to the mailbox. But I'll also like to find out if there's an alternative. For example, in an apartment building, you have the little lock boxes. Is it permissible to put your outgoing mail in those in your box so that when the mailman comes to put the mail in, maybe he can retrieve it?
Okay.
Because there needs to be some solution for pickup of mail by the seniors because they can't walk box and box to the a post office box somewhere else on it, whatever. Thank you.
Mr. President, can I take
Is that
excuse?
Yeah, sure, Councilman. Sure,
Thank you.
Councilman.
Have a good evening.
Take care. Good evening.
Sure, I have the answer for you because I fought not only with a congressman, which I was very disappointed, and with the congressman. I had a meeting with Elizabeth Postmaster. I invited to come in to one of my Black Watch meeting. In conclusion, I really begged the guy to put a mailbox back, not too far away from where I live, which we have a lot of senior citizens or whatever. And he instructed me that during the Black Watch meeting to teach your constituency that put the mail in your mailbox, the mailman will come in, pick up your mail, put them in a bag, and we'll put you the mail that comes to you.
That's good.
That's good.
That
And even if
answers the
you're out of
question.
business, if you put your mail inside your mailbox like then, that saves money because it's a budgetary reason. I was at first, I was mad. I mean, I had a lot of meetings with back and forth, even with the new postmaster that came on board. I figured maybe this guy would think different.
Yeah.
Nothing. I tried so hard with a congressman. He's a congressman. You're in charge.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, instead of take care of the senior
It
citizens,
is federal.
you actually, you know, people were really mad to me. Explaining, how come you can get a mailbox? I said, listen, look at me. Every morning when I get up, I gotta go, when I go to gasoline station, I pick up the newspaper by school 15 and I drop my mail inside the mailbox if I don't trust my mailbox because it's open, you understand?
Right.
So if you don't trust the mailbox, your mail to be in the mailbox to be picked up by the mailman because during the daytime you might have a scavenger going through and pick it up, you could go just about every, let's say 3 or 4 blocks or 5 blocks you'll find a mailbox. But they got rid of a lot of them because of manpower.
I had the same
Yeah,
situation.
but the woman, this is real quick, the woman specifically said, she said, I'm afraid about putting my mail on a table or outside. But if you can
You could
actually
put 'em in a
it
box,
in
yes.
your own locked mailbox,
Yeah.
it solves that problem.
That solved the problem.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Yeah, you can.
Anything else, Councilman? Councilman Rowe?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to piggyback on Councilwoman Perkins Augusti's issues. In addition to reports and status on the current shooting, I want to know what happened with the shooting that occurred 14 months ago. Because if I recall the news, it was an 18-year-old girl that got shot. And if that 18-year-old girl, if there's any evidence that she was being served inside that establishment, that's a big problem.
Definitely.
So we need to get to that. And I also, following up, maybe some of you don't know, there was also a shooting at Dolce's within the last week. And that's the second one also within the last 3 years. So
Is that a fatality?
it was a fatality. So I'd like to find out if we get reports on that too. And on this issue, maybe our law department can do a little research. Our health department has got involved in preventing ABC establishments from having hookahs or hookah, whatever those things are, those smoke hookahs. My understanding is that years ago, when the no smoking in bars came out, this was not considered smoking. I think they've changed that law, or they've amended it, or now they've changed the definition of it.
It was unclear in the original iteration of the Smoke-Free Air Act. Then subsequent cases came and said that it included hookahs and other things, and then subsequently it was amended by the legislature to include other things such as water pipes and those blue cigarettes that are just air or water vapor.
So if that is the case, and that is now the law, then it should be enforced statewide, correct? There's bars in towns outside of Elizabeth where it's not being enforced, such as Linden. And a lot of our establishments in Elizabeth are losing business because these folks who enjoy this recreational stuff can go to another bar in Linden or whatever, and that's where they spend their money. So if it's a state law, then I think it should be enforced statewide the same way. And I also know that there's some bars in Elizabeth that still do it. So whoever's the enforcing agency that's now doing this, whether it's the health department, whatever, they should really spend some time now that they've notified everybody and follow up on it. Because if you're a businessman and you want to comply with the law, but the guy 3 blocks away is not, then he's benefiting from illegality, basically.
Unfortunately, the enforcement mechanism is local, so the Elizabeth Health Department can only enforce in Elizabeth or not in Linden, Roselle.
But whoever interpreted, maybe we can send a letter up to the State Attorney General's office or whoever it is up at the state level and let them know that there are other towns that are not totally ignoring whatever they came down with. I don't think it's fair for our own homegrown businesses to be subject to that.
Okay.
Just go across the border and they're whatever they want.
And just to piggyback off of, thank you, Mr. President, there are those shops now that sell all this illegal paraphernalia. It's like a smoke shop. Do we regulate those? There's one on Westfield Avenue, and there's one on Elizabeth Avenue next to, I think it's next to Salerno's, the jewelry store. And then there's one on, I believe on Westfield Avenue near Elmore Avenue.
I have some information on that, Mr. President. When they first opened up, I got a lot of complaints about that.
Yeah.
And the city licensing office, I believe, or the health department did check it out and found that they were in compliance with existing law.
So they can sell the illegal paraphernalia?
Well, I guess that the determination was that it wasn't illegal. But, you know, Mr. President, I wouldn't mind having them go back and check again. Thank you.
It's on, there's one on Westfield at the
Right,
corner of
Westfield and
Avenue.
Elmore,
And then there's one on Elizabeth Avenue.
Right across from the pet shop.
Right. Thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
if we could send that information to both health and licensing so they can follow up with those 2 establishments in particular.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Just one last thing, Madam Clerk, can we put 243 Fulton Street on for handicap?
To what?
243 Fulton Street.
Okay.
Thank you.
Regular handicap?
It says request for a reserved handicap parking space.
Okay.
I'll give you this one.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry. December 3rd, we got, I guess, delivered to fax number 8204021. I'm assuming at your office?
4021?
Yes.
Announcing or inviting us to the Trimming the Tree for Holidays on Tuesday morning, 10 a.m., December 4th.
Those are there.
If we get those, could we like call us and let us know? Because
Trimming of what?
At 10 o'clock? Okay.
Come on.
I,
At least you got it.
What are you gonna do, trim the trees?
It was to everybody?
it said,
Grover Gallman and Patricia Burns Augusta.
yeah, it was in the Sampson Center. I guess it must have been something going on at the Sampson Center. But the point is, and this has happened in the past.
I didn't
Yeah.
think it was.
Somebody should call if they get a fax that they see that we're not going to see it until
And
Too
we
late.
usually try.
you do. I know
Yeah,
that's
they do.
this one slipped through the cracks.
I don't know who took that off.
It was fine.
Anything else, Councilman?
Nope.
Councilman Mazza?
Yeah, Mr. President, number one, whatever the councilman from the first ward, Mr. Grover mentioned about the UCAM, is actually did destroy every single bar in the city of Elizabeth. Number one was something when it first came out, we touched bases a couple of years ago, and then we never act as a councilman. But yeah, the hookah became so popular that, you know, every bar probably had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, depending on the size of the nightclub. They probably, after that, they laid off 16, 17 people per bars. And that means cost effective, jeopardize the job of so many people in Elizabeth, and yeah, move the crowd either to Linden, to Rollway, to Newark, to Hillside, because of non-enforcement. In Elizabeth, we also made a couple times I happened to say that we have an area that they smoke in, which is illegal. Personally, I didn't like it because of, somebody smokes, it's another form of smoke, and then you bring it out, and I have to breathe that nonsense. So, but unfortunately, as many said, if the law needs to be enforced, it should be enforced throughout the state of New Jersey. Otherwise, we're not doing the right thing for the business people of Elizabeth and for the people that are employed in our bars, maid, and everything else, because that attracts people to go out of Elizabeth and bring the money out of Elizabeth. That means our bars are usually empty. The economy is so bad that it reflects. As far as the incidents at Cocobango, first thing in the morning when I got up was on Channel 12 on the news, just after the Christmas light that we had at the train station. So we left from there, probably they went to Cocobango, but in today's paper, Star Ledger, was an article indicating that presumably wherever this guy that was aside or across from Cocobango happened to stop somebody for either jewelry or money, and apparently the guy might be reactive, say, what do you want, or whatever, and the guy just got shot over the head, and a bullet came out through the mouth, and I went and ate somebody else's leg at Cocobango on a sidewalk or whatever. So again, things like this, it's happening when you have people that there's a lot of guns out into the streets, and the best thing is to prevent the sale of guns to people and check occasionally. I'm sure Cocobango, whether any other bar or in Elizabeth, they hire a security in order to check them. First thing they do, I feel very secure when I go in a place and I see a police radio car in the front, even though they're sitting in their car with the lights on, but there's a security who search you when you go in. But they don't search the lady, because the lady needs to be searched too. Because I go there, I bring my girlfriend, and I say, hey baby, put this gun, whatever, it cannot be touched. And now we go inside. If I have an argument, go, guess what? Baby's got to take my side, or there'll be my baby shooting at him, or vice versa. That gun is going to come out, and it's going to create problems. So another thing they should be able to do might be hire a lady to search the lady thoroughly, like the way they fix us when we go in. Or metal detector, like some of the bars have, like we have Elizabeth High School, you walk in, you put it very sensitive, and then you're creating a long line outside. There's things that needs to be adjusted. So I'm all in favor to send a letter to whatever judge who made the decision, Attorney General office, that it should go to the surrounding city of Elizabeth. I don't want the business from Elizabeth to go to the next municipality, or go to a different bar. The bar, they were notified, wherever this bar, they were notified. They all stopped doing that, smoking, whether it was a religious smoking or whatever. But everybody was doing all over the city. So John Surmay was the only enforcement agent in the city, and the first offense was 200, maximum to, let's say, the next time was probably 400, and then went on and on. So whatever the fine will be, still, I would afford to pay the fine and still have a hookah in a way to make money and employ 15, 16 people, because it takes time. You have to have a lot of people working at that. And you also have to pay money in order to do that kind of a smoking. Unless you have a cigar bar, but we don't have that in Elizabeth. Now, those shooting is really concerned, depending who the bar owner is, because they were shooting in one area, remember, that I never came up, or it might be the same case that somebody mentioned, the 18-year-old girl. So it takes a lot of investigation from the police or the detective squad. I happened to call one of the detectives from the ABC to put a complaint about a bar. He got back to the next day and it says, cons are being busy, blah, blah, blah. And he told me what happened and they're doing an investigation. So still it's ongoing. I don't think they're gonna have an answer for us for next meeting. But whatever it is, at least we should be notified and see what happened. Okay, the next thing I'd like to, Yolanda, I requested a long time ago when I had a Black Watch meeting, And the people on Williamson and Nordwood Terrace on the corner, for years there used to be a crossing guard, even when I was a teacher at Baton. And they actually begged me because people are making a left-hand turn without showing respect to the pedestrian or to the children or to the parents or whatever. Well, I got a letter from the traffic control or whatever it is from Mr. William Dugan. Says, please advise Councilman Mazza that regarding his request for crossing guard at Williamson Street and Nordwood Terrace, Sergeant Canary conducted a study and ascertained that it is not needed at this time. I don't know when. I would like to see the study. So, my people, those of you who listen to City Council, this is the letter from the police department, copied to Mr. Cosgrove. I wonder where all the money goes when we put them in a budget and what the police director does with the money for the safety of our children. You don't protect the people in the bar, but stop protecting the children. There's a Benton school, there is the so-called ABLE files or the OC Academy of Finance there nearby.
That was what street you said?
It is Nordwood Terrace and Williamson Street,
Behind Baton.
right behind in the corner there. I mean, they love to put the stop sign. I made them stop sign for them, stop for pedestrian, which was great, right, Councilman? You
Right.
requested, it was
Yeah.
done,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you got the same complaint. So those of you who listen to Mr. Mazza this evening, make sure that this comes from the police direction, the police department. They're so great doing their job, but yet to put a crossing guard, they don't have $30 a day. Multiplied by whatever, so shame on us when we increase our taxes by 3% to the taxpayer, but we don't have yet $30 to pay somebody. And then he goes, as a remind him that I do not have a copy of the truck route. Madam Clerk, I need according to him, he said that you have the truck route.
I
Because
have
it
a
says,
truck route?
yes, it says, in the city of Elizabeth,
No.
they are governed by the city council and part of the city code. So there must be the city code that you have.
Well, the 4-ton weight limit is in the code with the list of the streets.
Good, because I know one street that there's a sign, no trucks or whatever, but there are trailers every day passing by. I have to tell you,
So it's enforced.
and we do not enforce. So,
You want
if
a
you don't
copy?
mind, yeah, make me that copy, so I'll make sure that I send the letter. When I have a Black Watch meeting, I will tell them that this is what's happening. Call the police department. Two, when people make a complaint to the police department or they call the police, I keep telling them, you don't have to give your name or your phone number. They know exactly who you are when you call. Give the complaint, and whether it be the dispatch or somebody else, they keep insisting, I need your name, I give you your phone number. No, they don't have to give no name and no phone number. That's the police. I call, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to drop a dime on Minnie Grover. That's what it is. Boom. It's done. So get the complaint and do what the people are requesting you to do. That's important. That's the comment. What's the sense of having a hotline in City Hall if you got to find out that it's Mr. Mazza making the phone call? That's wrong. And that's why you don't get participation from the community to be involved. So we need to do something with this. I don't know which area we have to go, Mr. President. I mean, you're the president. And
President, not God.
no, but I understand. But you're the president. The gavel means a lot. Then you could tell some of us director. Talking about the director, question and need an answer, please. When we appoint a director, does the director has to live in town? What are the requirements? Does he have to live in Thomas River, acting director or whatever it is?
There's no residency requirement for director.
Why? Can you show me the law that will tell me that? Because I read the law yesterday, and I went through. Really, it's up to city council. The mayor appoints a city council confirmed, and then we could write him a waiver if we want. Otherwise, we have to say, director, you want the job, you got to move in Elizabeth. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Okay, then show me the law, because I'd like to have a copy of that law if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Because then I could have somebody else that is more qualified and educated, might be an attorney or a former judge, to see whether your definition is correct or is not correct. Okay, Mr. President, that's
What are
important.
you gonna get, Judge Stein?
Hmm?
What are you gonna use, Judge Stein?
Oh, whatever, no, I don't know. I never met him, but according to the paper, he's a fine guy.
Councilman Keenan?
I assure you that Director at CISC is a lifelong Elizabeth.
No, I'm not talking about the reps. I know acting director and temporary CISC. I know him for many years. I have nothing to do. I'm talking about in general as a director.
Oh, I thought you were referring to
No.
a specific.
I don't know. Does he live in Thomas River?
No, he doesn't.
So
That's
what's
what
the
I'm saying.
president?
Right, I know, so I'm nothing against him, but any
Okay.
director in general, could be the police director, the fire director, the board of health director, could be the business administrator, could be anybody as a director in the capacity of the city of Elizabeth, gets appointed by the mayor, confirmed by 5 votes of city council. I think, am I right on that one,
It's
right?
advice and consent of city council.
Okay, that's it, I'm right. Otherwise, I remember one time we stopped the director to act for 15 minutes because he wasn't doing the job that the councilman requested to do. And I could give you the record time when it happened. And we could do the same thing with some of those directors. They do not perform the duty that they're getting promoted or appointed to do so. I get elected by the people, Mr. President, so is you, but,
Mr. Travisano will get that in for you.
okay, that's
All right,
good.
anything
So I
else,
need
Councilman?
then I have a 2 memorial, and Yolanda, I'll pay the money next week because I need to get paid first.
Okay,
Teacher get paid twice a month.
okay.
Thank you. I have a memorial for Colicchio and for Minieri, over 100 years old, both of them, from my
okay.
hometown.
Nice.
Yeah.
So must be the
I mean,
word.
native born of this country, but originally from my hometown.
We need some of that water here.
Thank you, yes.
Is that it, Councilman?
I'm finished, but
Must be the
thank you,
great
Mr. President.
Okay.
Must
Yeah,
be
be
the
great,
great.
be
Costa?
Yes, Mr. President, I was gonna make just a simple comment, but after listening to the councilman of the 6th Ward, I just want to highlight something that is significant, I think, and that we should all, as an observation, This obviously is a public meeting, and I think it is very important, it's extremely important for us to be very careful when we discuss personnel matters and when we make comments about personnel, that comments that may not be positive comments. In my humble opinion, I think that's an area that's very sensitive, and that we really, not only, let me not say morally, but legally, we should really, really be careful. When we have a meeting such as this, obviously it's televised, and comments are made that people could find derogatory. Just as an observation, not as a criticism. I think we should really be careful with that, moving forward. Regarding the incident, Cocobongo, I have received phone calls and I have read the articles that Councilman from the 6th Ward referred to. However, I'm going to reserve not only judgment but my comments. I appreciate what the rest of the council stated before until I read the actual report. So I would like to get that report as soon as possible so I can really understand things, as the councilwoman said, factually. I want to know what happened. Not, people have all kinds of rumors and comments about speculation, I should say, about what took place, and I don't know. I don't know what took place. I'd like to read the police report and see for myself what the report indicates. And last but not least, I think, Yolanda, you and I talked about this before, but next Tuesday I'm going to have that resolution, correct?
Right,
I don't want to go
Yeah.
too much into it, but I expect some visitors. I'd like the resolution ready for next Tuesday night. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Sedani?
Yes, just a couple quick things. One, I know everyone has been highlighting the shootings, but I wanted to see if we could do this as a practice moving forward. Anytime there's any shooting in Elizabeth, that every council member would get a copy of the police report. Just because we get phone calls and everything, just, how Councilman Cuesta mentioned, just, to know the facts instead of like
Shootings
relying.
or fatalities? Or both?
I would, at the very least, homicides, at the very least. Just for the fact, just because we get the phone calls,
Right.
and sometimes you rely on the Star Ledger, but they could get things wrong too. So we really do need the reports, and I think as a practice.
Especially if it's on a weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So I just wanted to make that request, if the police department could provide that for us. Before I forget, because Mrs. Simmons, I promised her I was going to say this, but I think everyone received in their packet, there's an event happening Thursday, December 20th. I talked to her probably an hour before City Council, and she just extended an invitation for all of us to attend. The other thing I just wanted to express too, that I was really disappointed to hear that CIS didn't make it to last week's meeting. I wasn't able to be here because I was away on vacation with my family, but I was in constant communication even up to 6 p.m. the same night with Mr. Muhammad, and I made phone calls to some of the residents in Oakwood Plaza, letting them know that they're definitely going to be there. So I'm disappointed that they didn't send any type of representation. Like, someone just to at least be there because the residents came out. And lastly, a concern, and I know this isn't technically an ABC meeting, of course, but I just want to bring to the attention of my colleagues that it seems like also a couple clubs are doing team parties, and I know we don't allow that, but the loophole that I've been seeing is that they make it seem like it's a birthday. So it's somewhat like this kid is having a birthday, and then it's like they charge at the door, and that's like the loophole because they make it seem like it's a birthday party, but it's really a team party.
They can't have birthday
Yeah,
parties.
so that's pretty much like what I've been hearing. If I get any more details, I'll definitely bring it forward. But it's
If
definitely,
you know the location,
Yeah, right.
just let the ABC
ABC
secretary know.
Yeah, absolutely, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and I also just wanted to piggyback off of the CIS and Oakwood Plaza situation. I don't know if any of you had an opportunity to read in Sunday's paper, the sports section when they talked about Muhammad Wilkerson.
yeah.
And, it's just like good things come out of Oakwood Plaza. And I don't know if the owner think that there's no good in Oakwood Plaza, so they can treat the people inhumanely. But if you read that mother's story, how she worked 2 and 3 jobs, just like a lot of the women who come up and speak, just like Miss Wallace, they work. These are working people trying to do the best for their families and sacrificing. And this woman, I know her very well, her son, they grew up in Oakwood Plaza, and now he's playing for the Jets. And it's just a story about hard-working people just trying to make a living for their families and trying to do better and trying to give some aspirations to their children and hope. And CSI understand that. I don't know what they think of our residents who live there, but there's a lot of hard-working people there wanting the best for their families. And, we need to send a letter down to Congressman Don Payne Jr. He'll be representing Oakwood Plaza up until December 31st of this year, and then we go to Appeal Series. But we need to get our federal representation involved in this project because it gets federal funds. And they need to see the plight of these people. And they need to hear the story. I want to send them the story of Muhammad Wilkerson, stating that he grew up in Oakwood Plaza, a nice kid, mild-mannered, star athlete, someone who cares about his parents, someone who cares about his mom. Even though his dad was incarcerated, he still had the right positive environment around him so that he can succeed. So in Oakwood Plaza, there's so many good things. Stan Neron grew up in Oakwood Plaza. Our police officer, Ambrose, grew up in Oakwood Plaza. All of these good people, hardworking citizens came out of Oakwood Plaza just a minute ago. And here we are just thinking like, oh, CSI didn't come. It's like,
That's disrespectful.
we are wrong for even keep acting like, oh, they didn't show up. And these people, they're hardworking. The woman come up and she's screaming as Hicks because she's trying to take care of her children. She's going to school. She's being educated, reading the literature, going to HUD, getting the paperwork, calling Trenton, trying to do the right thing. So we really have to step this up. We have Ms. Phyllis Reich involved. We need to have a meeting with her. She need to go over there and meet the people. But more importantly, the people who want to leave, especially those who live in those buildings that have those elevators that cannot be repaired. They cannot be repaired. And what makes it so sad is that when you move the people from off of Irvington Avenue to Parker Road, you knew the elevators could not be repaired. Why do that? So, we really have to begin to really look at this for what it is. Take however long like you want to do the project, but don't have the people held hostage based on, the subsidized that they're getting. Those people, they're hard working, they need those subsidies, and if you're not gonna treat them right, let them take their subsidy and take it elsewhere. So please, Mr. Assistant to the VA, can you please, send letters to, our federal representatives regarding HUD, and really getting the HUD secretary involved in this. I think the office is in, Philadelphia, the one who really deals with this issue regarding site-based Section 8 vouchers. Because we could be killing off the next great mayor in this town. We could be killing off the next great lawyer or the next great scientist just because we're not providing the proper housing where the people can breathe and grow.
Councilwoman.
That's what we can be killing off. We can be killing off the next best youth director for our city, like in the Stan Nearby, or our next best police officer,
Councilwoman.
like in, Ambrose. I'm
I would
sorry.
suggest that maybe you can contact Bill Jones from the Housing Authority. He could probably tell you exactly who would be
Thank you,
best to
Mr.
send
President. Okay.
the letter to.
Sure.
Yeah, because
Okay.
enough is enough. of it.
No.
Councilman Keenan?
The fact that the residents have to come to our city council meetings is a big red flag that CIS is not doing their job. Chris came here several months ago,
Right.
half a year ago, whatever it was, and painted a really beautiful picture about how things were going to be fixed and taken. Didn't happen, okay? So it's not only being unresponsive to the residents, it's being unresponsive to city council too. Now, this was the second time that we had a date for her to come, that she didn't come. It's unconscionable, that you didn't at least send a representative, send somebody who's on the ground, who can be in a position to help people. We can't continue with this
Well, they use the
situation.
weather as the excuse for not being able to come.
And,
so
yeah,
send
it's-
anyone.
But they're in the city of Elizabeth, and they've gotta have somebody on the property. But really, they need, I'm echoing what Councilwoman said, they need to be more
But,
responsive
Councilman,
to
and
the
I don't
needs of
think
the
anybody in the
residents.
property would be the one to come to council. It has to be someone from CIS,
Exactly.
owner, or somebody up in that management that can come here and speak to what's going on.
But they shouldn't be allowed to make an appointment and then not show.
And talking about snowflakes, some snowflakes are over with by 4 p.m.
I just,
Clear. It was
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I
I'm
was
also
really-
frustrated.
I was
disappointed.
shocked.
It's been
I was
frustrating
shocked.
dealing
Yeah.
with them, you know, that
Really shocked.
not only did they come, I mean, but to hear that they're not keeping the residents up to date, not meeting with them after she came here and told us, oh, we're gonna have these
Yeah,
regular
exactly.
meetings, keep the residents informed, you know, have some interaction, communication going, and it's not taking place.
And Mr. President, I just wanted to add, I feel as though the residents of Oakwood Plaza have been extremely graceful in just extending their hands when pretty much Ms. Foglio pretty much presented the plan, but trust has been broken again. And it's just a big concern. Last thing, I don't know from an attorney, from a law perspective, but a lot of times throughout the city of Elizabeth, there's teen parties that happens at home, where they charge at doors. They're in residential areas. All of a sudden, they promote it. There's 100, 150 teenagers that show up to a house. They charge at the door $5 per person. And it pretty much becomes a teen party in a residential place. All the neighbors complain and everything. But I just don't know from an attorney's perspective, like what could we do? It's a residential property, but it's really converted into a club, like a teen club.
Yeah, I know, and those are problematic. I've had some of that problem in the second ward as well. And what we've been able to do is, and when we've identified that they're gonna have one of those, is get the police out there and issue nuisance complaints to the owners of the property. That's what's happened thus
Up to this
far,
moment, okay.
you know? And I don't, you know,
If you're here in
Yeah.
advance, maybe you can probably.
right, no, hearing in advance, you
Yeah.
can, you coordinate that way, and it worked out beautifully the last time for us. Yeah, when it happened, so.
That's it, Mr.
So if you hear
President.
anything in advance, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Councilman Mazza, you had?
Yeah, I think Patricia, she made the picture nice and clear, but city council, if I do remember, we voted for tax abatement. When they came before us, we have a different picture. So now, maybe it's time that, as Joe mentioned, we have to do something. If they have no respect for city council, I mean, we know we can control certain landlord, but You know, we give 25, 35 years of tax abatement, we help them out any way that we could. It might be when they come back again, let them know, listen, the city council might rescind the resolution that we approved instead of whatever, because you don't take care of people. And we told the people, you deserve better than what actually they're getting right now. Like you said, these are the future of Elizabeth, they are the future of, you know, USA, and we do have a moral responsibility, we've been trying, and we hope that we gotta be successful.
The only thing with that was something that was required so they could move forward with the project. So it's a catch-22 for us. If we don't approve that, then they can't move forward with the project either.
Yeah, maybe she's not happy to do the project, maybe somebody else will, that will invest the same money or better to do something more helpful. I don't know if it could be done, but I'm sure there's gonna be ramification. Enough is enough.
Yeah, we maybe begin taking other steps.
Yeah.
But I think the letter, as the councilwoman suggested, sending it, you know, to the Federal Housing Administration and our representatives in Congress as well. I think so that this way they will know.
Or as some of the people say, make sure we get her to give them a voucher. They want to go someplace else, they're quite welcome to go in a motorcycle, Peterstown or whatever in Elizabeth.
From
You know,
what I recall,
and then
that
she
they-
could keep that building at her own place. She could finish 10 years from now.
Yeah, from what I recall, they can't opt out until I think it was April. It was said so. We'll
Yeah,
see
but
what happens then.
Meanwhile, the people have to suffer until
They
later.
have to suffer to April, that's unreal.
If I may, Mr. President, the only thing I wanted to say, I got a copy of an email that was sent to Ms. Reich, 5:15, December 3rd, that was yesterday afternoon.
Yes.
Here's an update on the elevators. This came from CIS. This is good, Ms. Wallace speaking. Says, we are awaiting city inspection to finish work on the elevator in building 230. Upon completion of inspection, CIS has requested this inspection. Once inspected, elevator will be fully operational. This is regarding 230. That's what it says here.
Okay, next,
Then it says, the elevator in building 220, due to the massive damage, will not be operational until January 15th. All parts have been ordered and the lead time for this work is 10 weeks. That's the response that Phyllis got
That's what, yeah.
on the elevator.
Well, it sounds hopeful at least that by January they'll,
So,
this month 2:30 and next month the other
Feel
building.
it's on the top.
I can't give you that.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
I missed that email. I'm missing stuff here. All right, anything else, Councilman Sedan?
No, that's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
With that, motion to adjourn.
So
moved.
So moved, meeting adjourned.